And as a jam-packed panel. The reason it's interesting is because there's a whole generation that's probably now had enough of getting gyan from millennials like me. So we flipped it around. What's the message from Gen Z to Gen Alpha? This is going to be an interesting conversation. And joining us for it is Simran Khosla, who's a fitness content creator, Divya Babbar, singer and songwriter, Insha Ghai is with us, a content creator, Shruti Bakshi, who's a beauty content creator, and Arna Jay Madan, founder of Siddhi Arts. They'll be in conversation with my colleagues Devika Chopra and Pia Man. I'll leave it to you guys. Please come and join us on stage. Devika, are you borderline millennial? So you're borderline, Pia is very much Gen Z.
Pia is Gen Z. Pia is fully Gen Z. I'm at that
We have Gen Alpha coming shortly. I mean, 12 years old.
No, I don't think anyone on stage, right, I'm really bad at this.
No age checks. All right, I'll leave it with you.
So everyone, welcome. It's a huge panel, and we'll try to make ensure that everyone gets a fair opportunity to be heard. But on that note, I'm going to ask my very Gen Z colleague Pia to start this conversation.
All right, thank you so much everyone for taking out time and joining us at the Women Want Conclave. Of course, getting straight to the discussion itself with Simran Khosla first. You're of course a fitness expert, a nutritionist, and Gen Z, we've all grown up being exposed to fitness routines and fitness trends on social media itself. This includes a lot of quick fix diets as well. Gen Alpha is now exposed to these trends even earlier on in life, as well as quick fixes now through Ozempic, for example. How are then you using your platform to encourage younger girls in particular to be healthier but in a more sustainable manner?
Thank you for your question. I think social media can create a vibe where people are looking for more quick fixes rather than focusing on sustainable diets. And my whole focus is that when I'm using my platform, I'm using it in the utmost organic way, where I'm only telling them how to focus on their health, how to get stronger, how movement is important, rather than just focusing on weight loss or focusing on their aesthetics. Now I think women are more exposed to, trying to get a leaner first, but right now I think Gen Alpha and Gen Z are also trying to be stronger. As we can see, the whole community has changed now from running marathons to Hyrox. I think I've seen a lot of change in people where they're looking to get stronger. So from my community, I only guide them that, I want to teach them, educate them that why nutrition is important, rather than just putting them on a 3-month weight loss project where they're just focusing on how flat their tummy is looking or how good they're looking in the mirror, but rather than just focusing on how strong and how much they can lift so that they can be stronger for the future.
That's a very important point that you've raised there, that girls are wanting today to be stronger rather than fit a certain body type that was sort of imposed on us also through not just, back in the day there was no social media, but through films and television, and there was a lot of pressure on women to look a certain way. But similarly, at the same time, how do you then strike that balance? Do you feel that social media today is more accepting of imperfections, of flaws, and that creates somewhere a safety net, or that's just a bubble that we have created in our minds that, okay, it's a safe space, but it's not really?
I think it is still not a very safe space, to be very honest, though we keep telling body positivity and all of those stuff, but I've seen people that have also been hiding health issues in the name of body positivity. Now I think content creators who used to talk about body positivity like a few years back are also into fitness now. So I think things have changed, and people are very smart when they look at things. I honestly, right now I'm in that phase where I just became a mother 10 months ago, and now I'm in that phase. Yeah.
Oh wow, congratulations.
Thanks. So I have a 10-month-old baby, but throughout my pregnancy journey, I was out there working out, showing that I've been running marathons, doing all of that during my pregnancy, so that women around could also be motivated, and they know that as a mother you have to be stronger, not just sit in bed and relax and take your pregnancy very easily. So I've been that person. So I think people are very smart when they look at you, and everyone wants to be just very strong now instead of just getting leaner and leaner. So that's something that I focus on.
That's wonderful. Moving across to Ms. Dia Babar, of course, you are a musician, a singer, songwriter to be very specific. Now, music is touted to be the ultimate bridge between languages, but it's also a bridge between generations. So, how do you then, as a young singer, songwriter, try to navigate the changes that you are going through your life to make your music more relatable to people who are also navigating through the same process? Could you take us through how the process through which you write your songs?
So I've been songwriting for most of my life, and my process is more like when I'm going through something or when my friends are going through something. Sometimes I write songs for them, sometimes I write songs for myself, and I think it's very therapeutic. I'm getting everything out, and it's like any art form. It's like getting it out in poetry or in song. I feel like it's very powerful, and also sharing it with other people, because for me personally, when I listen to music, I find myself relating to lyrics, and if I'm feeling sad, I listen to sadder songs. So it's the same thing that I want to do as well, is put out music and other people listen to it and feel less alone, that there's other people going through the same thing and you're not alone in what you're going through. And that's, I think, my message through my music.
I'm so sorry. I'm going to request everyone at the back to kindly settle down. There's too much noise and you're being very disrespectful to this conversation. Everyone at the back, I'm just going to request you to please get yourselves seated, else you may please exit the hall. Too much noise at the back, please. Thank you. Pia, go ahead.
Absolutely. Roping in Ms. Insha Ghai into the conversation over here. Of course, content creation, we've seen it change over the years. Now, of course, artificial intelligence has entered the conversation. It's a tool, yes, but we're also seeing the rise of AI avatars. How are you navigating this particular change that has now not just taken place in the tech sphere, but is also permeating content creation, while ensuring that, yes, you are as genuine as possible, as vulnerable as possible, and are not burnt out through the process of using your own creativity and imagination?
I feel even if AI is there, you have to be true to yourself. If you're not putting across yourself out there as you are, people will just relate to what everybody is relating to. They will not see authenticity. They will not be able to communicate with you the way they would otherwise. And I feel with avatars and everything that has come into the picture, it's still, again, authenticity is missing out there. It's like, it's very easy to figure out what's AI and what's not AI. So I believe until and unless you are what you are on social media, people will just maybe there for a while. They'll be there for your profile in a while, but then they'll pass across it. And I believe you have to be very, very genuine to yourself here, which AI cannot do that. I mean, it can give you a way to represent yourself better, but definitely it can't be an original person or something that you have gone through in life, or the story that people might relate to, that AI cannot understand and come across. So I believe it's very important to be genuine across the social media, and so people can relate to what you post.
Absolutely, it's important to be able to see a human being on the other side as well. Moving on to Ms. Shruti Bakshi. Of course, you are into the beauty content creation sphere. Now, I remember about a decade ago when I was a young teenager, very self-conscious of my appearance. I'd gone down this rabbit hole of, trying to compensate and by over-consuming, whether it's makeup items, it's skincare items. Now, of course, over the years, I've managed to form my own routine, understand what works best on my skin. But through, the younger generation who's going through this particular change, how would you basically try to balance your job as a beauty content creator while encouraging young girls to focus first on self-love?
I think I keep it very raw and real. I speak whatever happens with me. Like, I'll tell you, so 2 years back, I got this really bad breakout, and I got
my confidence was lost. Because before that, I used to post transition videos in which I used to look perfect. But then one day I just thought that I'm not able to create content just because I have acne on my face. So I just posted that video, and I cannot tell you how much love I've got for that. So I think people now love raw and real videos. So they now know that, this is our skin, and we do not have to overconsume things. What works best for us works best for us. And even in my videos, I tell this, that skincare or makeup may vary from person to person. So you can check it on yourself that if this works for me, then it's good. Otherwise, you don't have to copy everything that you see trending online. So yeah.
Absolutely, being comfortable in one's skin is important. Arna, over to you, of course. You have combined your background in psychology with traditional heritage to build your brand. But how do you make that, cool and relatable and relevant, especially ancient wisdom and our cultural roots, to a younger audience, Gen Z as well as Gen Alpha?
So I'm not just an artist. I'm someone who has made Indian history impossible to ignore. So hi guys, I'm Arna Jemadan, founder of Siddhi Arts. And in this, we work around meaningful Vastu compliant artifacts to bring them in the modern life. And we do that, as you mentioned, by building a bridge between 5,000-year-old wisdom to the worlds we live in today. So I read about this experiment done by Roger Ulrich in 1984. उसमें उन्होंने बताया कि जो हम हॉस्पिटल्स में एडमिट होते हैं तो उनके कमरों का जो इंटीरियर डिज़ाइन होता है वो हमारे हेल्थ पे कैसे इफेक्ट करता है. नाउ हियर इट आउट केयरफुली. तो उन्होंने एक रूम में विंडो लगाया और विंडो से आपको पूरा सीनिक व्यू मिल रहा है, ट्रीज का, ग्रीनरी का. और दूसरे कमरे में उन्होंने एक ब्लैंक वॉल डाल दिया फॉर द पेशेंट्स. तो स्टडी हुई कुछ दिन और उसके बाद पता चला कि विद टाइम जिनको सीनिक व्यू मिल रहा था दे गॉट रिकवर्ड वेरी सून. उनकी मेडिकेशन कम हो गई. और जिनको अभी भी ब्लैंक वॉल में रखा हुआ था, दे स्टिल स्ट्रगलिंग. तो इसका क्रक्स ये आया था कि हमारा एनवायरनमेंट कितना साइलेंटली हमारी वेलबींग को इफेक्ट करता है. इट्स बियॉन्ड आवर इमेजिनेशन. तो मेरा विजन भी यही है कि मैं आज के यूथ को, आज के लोगों को एक्चुअली बताऊं कि हमें सिर्फ घर पे महंगी चीजें रखने से, एक्सक्विजिट आर्टिफैक्ट्स लगाने से, वो दैट इज नॉट इनफ टू एलिवेट द स्पेस. वी नीड द राइट इंटेंशन, वी नीड द राइट एनर्जी to enhance the well-being of a place. And that is my exactly vision, our company's vision, Siddhi's vision, कि हम हर किसी को उस well-being का टेस्ट चढ़ा सके. कि आप घर जा रहे हो, अपनी वर्क स्पेस पे जा रहे हो, you know what it actually feels. How it is supposed to feel.
Okay, on that note, I want to bring in Insha back into the conversation. Insha, is that something that you also resonate with? Because of the sort of stresses that we live with today, and all of you are in your own right, creating some sort of content. So a lot of that depends on how you will be received by the audience. Because I have a little bit of a glimpse into this world, so I know कि अजीब सा pressure है कि वो उस रील में कितने मिलियन व्यूज आए, फिर इसमें लाइक्स आए, इसमें क्या कमेंट आए, इसमें कमेंट ऑफ करो, इसमें कमेंट ऑन करो, फिर डीएम चेक. There's just that constant pressure. A lot of content creators talk about, they address about the impact that it has on your mental health, because ultimately it's a world right in your phones, but there's a huge world out there, a real world. So how are you striking a balance between the two?
Absolutely. I think it's a very common set problem between everyone, that all creators that I know. Our phone is our bread and butter, technically. So if you can't just, leave it out there. But I, as my personal experience, as my personal thing that I do, I keep my phone for 2-3 hours separate. For 2-3 hours in 24 hours that I'm not going to touch my phone. I'm going to spend my time doing what I love, maybe coloring, maybe doing things that I like, maybe go for a walk, spend time with dogs. So I believe that really helps in creating content again and rejuvenating yourself, because if you don't, you're constantly stuck in that loop. You're scrolling. Oh, I want to make this, I'm going to switch to this, and I'm going to switch my niche to this. Oh, this is working better for my profile. And then you're back-to-back calls with your team. So it doesn't, it takes a toll on your mind anyway. So I believe you really need to have some time for yourself throughout the day where you're not thinking about creating content, where you're literally just consuming whatever is around you, and not with the idea of creating a content, because as a creator, I believe even if I'm walking, I believe, oh, I can create content here, or I go look here and there, oh, it's a nice place, I can click pictures here. So I believe sometimes you just have to go through it and consume, not with the purpose of creating content or your work.
Okay, Shruti, same question to you then. Is that hard? Like Insha said that when you become a content creator, every corner that an idea strikes, right? Because you could be walking down the hall here. It's a beautiful hotel and you're like, okay, this is a great opportunity.
I already did
to-
that.
No, good for you guys. Please, it's a beautiful hotel. Please, by all means, utilize it. But I meant in general. Sometimes, is it hard to switch it off? Because that's a criticism against the younger generations anyway, right? कि phone में बस लगे हुए हो, घुसी हुए हो phone में, and you're not being able to switch off from the phone. Is that truly, something that you feel that happens with you, and how do you deal with that?
I completely agree with Insha here that it's very important कि आपके पास ऐसा time हो जहाँ पे आपका phone आपके पास नहीं है, because it's very difficult to completely shut it off. Obviously, जहाँ भी हम जाते हैं कुछ ना कुछ नया आइडिया स्ट्राइक होता है तो हम सोचते हैं कि चलो इसको नोट्स पे लिख देते हैं या फिर कि इसको हम कहीं पे अच्छे से सेफ रख ले. तो हर वक्त दिमाग में एक वो सोशल मीडिया का प्रेशर रहता ही है. बट अगेन इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट बिकॉज जैसे हमारे पेरेंट्स हमें समझाते थे कि ज़्यादा भी फ़ोन को अपने ऊपर हावी मत होने देना. सो आई हैव माई यंगर ब्रदर जो मुझसे बहुत ज़्यादा छोटा है और मैं उसको देखती हूँ कि वो कितना ज़्यादा फ़ोन पे लगा रहता है, वो बाहर नहीं जाता है, खेलता नहीं है. सो आई रियली फील कि अब मतलब आने वाले टाइम में वो जल्दी एक्सपोज हो रहे हैं डिजिटल वर्ल्ड की तरफ, तो उन लोगों को शायद वो ज़्यादा फैसिनेट करती है. बट इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू क्रिएट दैट बैलेंस क्योंकि वो आपकी मेंटल हेल्थ के लिए भी ज़रूरी है कि आप बाहर भी घूम रहे हैं, अपने लोगों के साथ भी टाइम स्पेंड कर रहे हैं विद गिविंग इक्वल टाइम टू योर वर्क एज वेल. क्योंकि एट द एंड ऑफ द डे दिस इज़ आवर वर्क. इट्स नॉट कि हम फोन पे बैठ के कुछ ऐसे ही स्क्रॉल कर रहे हैं, हम अपने काम के बारे में ही सोच रहे हैं. बट ऑब्वियसली ये आपको मेंटली बहुत ज़्यादा प्रेशराइज भी कर देता है बिकॉज एट द एंड यू जस्ट कीप थिंकिंग अबाउट न्यू आइडियाज, मुझे क्या करना है. सो या
Dia, your thoughts on this. How does Gen Z then truly relax today? Because we do have an unprecedented access to a lot of content. I'm not just talking about Reels and Instagram. I'm talking about content across platforms, right? So I can switch on, say, Netflix, and I'll have 1,000 things, different things to watch from. So how does one truly relax today as a Gen Z?
As a Gen Z, I think this is a common problem in both Gen Z and Gen Alpha कि हम बहुत ज़्यादा जल्दी expose हो चुके हैं to the digital world. But again, I would say कि it's on parenting as well and हम लोग मतलब just be mindful of what we are scrolling, what we are consuming because at the end वही चीज़ हमारे भी consume कर रही है एक तरीके से.
Okay.
So it's very very important to see that what you're consuming online also.
Okay, Dia, question for you. How does Gen Z truly relax?
I think that's a hard question because honestly, I find myself
really
scrolling
relax?
for half the day without even trying.
That's the reason why I asked, because I feel like there's a whole generation viewers that's coming up that just doesn't know how to relax.
Yeah. For me personally, for me and my friends, so I study in New York, and the way I relax is I go sit in a park, I put in my AirPods, I listen to music, and I just sit there and I people watch. And I think it's very relaxing watching other people just like do their own thing, and it's nice to see that everyone has their own lives, and it's very interesting seeing what everyone else is up to. So for me, that's something I find relaxing. And I studied this in an English class last year, where we were talking about how people just aren't okay with being bored anymore. It's like you always feel the need to do something, and if you're sitting and doing nothing, it's like you're wasting time.
Pia is nodding a lot.
And we should be fine with not doing anything sometimes. Like it's okay to just exist and not have to do something at all times. So that's something I need to implement more into my life, I think.
Absolutely. I'm going to leave the last word with Arna. Arna, your thoughts on this?
So balancing the power, as you mentioned. देखिए, I understand social media है, wow, it's very bad, नहीं use करना चाहिए, फलाना ढिमकाना. But this is our life. I completely understand कि Gen Z ने at least वो half life जी है without social media. But alphas, they have born in this. You cannot pull it away. और तो और I'll tell you कि जैसे दिया जी ने भी बोला that आप consume करते हो. What do you want to see? That what we call algorithm today. सोशल मीडिया इतना वास्ट प्लेटफॉर्म है. हिस्ट्री के बारे में पढ़ो, जियोपॉलिटिक्स के बारे में पढ़ो, आर्ट के बारे में पढ़ो. पढ़ो ना, ढंग का पढ़ो. दुनिया आपको दिखाएगी जो वो दिखाना चाहती है, बट क्या आप वो बनना चाहोगे जो वो आप देख रहे हो? मेरे पास भी बहुत फनी फनी कंटेंट आता है, बट एवरी टाइम आई जस्ट आस्क माई सेल्फ अ सिंपल क्वेश्चन, इज इट एडिंग एनी वैल्यू? इज इट एडिंग एनी इंटरेस्ट? और बैलेंसिंग पावर, सोशल मीडिया, रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी सब छोड़ो, खुद से शुरुआत करो. स्टार्ट विद योर ओन सेल्फ. डू यू हैव कंट्रोल ऑन योर ओन सेल्फ? डू यू नो व्हाट यू वांट टू कंज्यूम? या.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for those thoughts, and thank you for being with us here today. I know that it was a huge panel, and we had a huge responsibility to let everyone get heard.